Hey, how's it going everyone? Welcome back to Keeping Fish Simple. So in today's video, we're going to be setting up two new 4-foot tanks. These guys are 55 gallon tanks, so that's 210 litres, I'm not too sure, so that's for all the Aussies that want to hear litres. Basically, these guys behind me, these are the tanks. I'm currently in what used to be where I record my videos now. If you guys have been following the channel, I've been doing a ton of stuff. Basically, I've been working on this huge fish room. Basically, it's been a big distraction for this room. Now this room's been taken apart. I'm gonna quickly show you guys everything in this room, but we've had to take all the fish out of this room, take them to the new facility, and yeah, so I'm still gonna be recording a lot of videos from here, lots of little informational ones, and I'm gonna need a couple of tanks just to act as like my, I don't know, studio. This is still my mum's breakfast room. This isn't anything too special, but I'm just gonna keep these two tanks here just as displays for when I record those informational videos. So today we're gonna be setting them up. They look terrible right now because they've been just messed around with, and yeah, they don't look that great, but today we're gonna be setting them up. I'm not too sure what we're gonna be doing, so we're gonna go to the fish shop, get some stuff, and yeah, it should be a pretty fun video. So without any further ado, let's get started. All right, so here's the room now. You guys can see it looks completely different to what it used to look like. I'm gonna show you guys a quick couple of photos of what it used to look like. Basically, that's gone, that's gone, that's gone. We've just got this. Now these have been completely torn apart just because it's so hard to catch fish out of a really heavily planted tank. As you guys can see, there's some big Amazon swords just floating and stuff like that. And yeah, basically, so there's no fish in this tank. This is just like a nightmare. We've still got the gravel and everything. So we're gonna be setting this one up. And also, if you have a look down below, I've ripped up the carpet. I've kept a few little pieces of the carpet to continue it. But yeah, this tank's been ripped up so I could catch out all those tiny little guppies. So there's still a few in here. There's also a few bristlenose plecos, which we're gonna try and catch out as well today. And basically we're gonna start both these tanks from scratch. Now, honestly, I'm not too sure what's gonna be the plan today. We're probably gonna put down in this bottom aquarium another green carpet because you guys absolutely love to look at it. I'm not too sure what we're gonna put above fish-wise and what kind of hardscape we're gonna do. Maybe we'll just do some very minimal hardscape with some branches or something like that, with a little piece of Anubias on it, or I have no clue. So this tank will be very minimalistic down here, but up here, I think we're gonna go for something more black water this time rather than river themed. We're gonna probably go for something with, I'm not too sure, lots of big Amazon swords probably, some crypts, things like that, just to make it really, really dark in here. And maybe we'll do some like kind of tetra, or I don't know, some kind of rasbora. We'll just see when I get to the fish shop. But today we're not going to be adding any fish, we're just going to be planting these and aquascaping them. Now, I'm not the best aquascaper. There's people out there that are a million times better than me. I don't specialize in aquascaping, but I'm going to give it my best shot and see what we can create. So without any further ado, let's go to the fish shop. Okay, and after hours of being at the other fish room, we've finally gotten back to where we are. So what you guys can see here is the driftwood that I bought. So this is going to be the hardscape. So I bought this gold vine. I've used this stuff before now. I've got some pretty interesting shapes. I've got like 6 pieces of this stuff, but as you would all know, some hardscape can become very, very expensive, especially when you've got a big tank. So I got a ton of that stuff. I've also boiled up a few pieces of eucalyptus. So this is just like some red, I think it's iron bark. Now I get this stuff out of the firewood. So we get firewood, I don't know, maybe twice a year, once a year, and it comes with a bunch of these little offcuts inside of it, so you get your big pieces, and then also in the pile comes like a bunch of these little pieces. So I boil them up, and I just boil them to get rid of all the like bacteria and stuff on it, and like any potential parasites, and also to get it to sink. But I don't try and get too much of the tannin out, because the tannin's really good for a lot of the fish that I keep. So like tetras, for instance, are going to absolutely love having the tannin in the water. So we're going to try and do something with all of this. Now I think I'm just going to use 1 or 2 pieces in the bottom tank inside. So you guys can see that bottom tank over there. And the top tank will use like 5 or 6 pieces, because I only got 6 pieces of this gold vine. So we'll see how far this can get me and what we can create with this. But I guess let's get started. So as you guys can see behind me, these tanks are filthy. So I'm going to try and use my siphon just to get some of this debris off the bottom, because there's just tons of mold from like a year's worth of fish just being in there. So I'm gonna get rid of that as much as I can, just so I'm not dealing with it later. And then I think I'm gonna, I don't know, I'm just gonna play it by ear from there. Okay, so I've just had a crack at trying to clean these baddies, and basically my siphon for some reason isn't working. So there's holes in it. Who would have thought that with doing things like this there'd be problems? So I guess right now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to crack on anyways. I'll go find a siphon at the other fish room, but I'm going to crack on. I'm going to try and put the plants here where I want them and get a piece of driftwood in here and try and figure out how I want the scape, and then kind of explain it as I do it. So yeah, let's give it a go. Okay, so I've just finished putting, I think, all of the Amazon swords in place. These guys were huge. I had like 5 really, really big ones from the previous aquascape. So there's a ton of dirt in there. I can't really see too much else to plant like little tiny crypts and stuff like that. And the driftwood's not sinking. So I'm gonna have to figure out how I'm gonna make that sink while this finish is clearing up a bit so I can see into it. I'm gonna work on this bottom one. So let's get started on that. Alright, so what I've just done here is I've tied a rock to this, and I'm just going to cut this off in like a few weeks time when this piece of wood's sunk. This will just, hopefully this will keep this piece of wood down in the aquarium so it doesn't keep floating up, so I can design stuff around it. Alright, and here they are now. I know what you're probably thinking. Wow, Nick, you've outdone yourself here, mate. How creative. Yeah, no, I'm thinking the same thing. There's still a lot of work to do with these tanks. I'm not even near done. I have set them up, I've done everything I wanted to, but most of the work is now up to time. So I'm going to quickly walk through basically what I was thinking with each one of these tanks, and basically the plans for these within the next, I don't know, maybe 3 months until they're what I would want them to be, besides like fish obviously. So we'll go up to this first one now. This is kind of similar to what I originally had. I kind of wanted it to have no vallisneria this time and just be big broadleaf plants like these massive Amazon swords you can see here. So I used only gold vine, I used big thick boys up on this side and trying to bring it in on this side as well. And we have like some big ones in here as well. So I kind of set this up to be like big branches reaching up for the surface, like on a shallow, I don't know, tributary or something like that, for lots of little tetras and stuff to swim through. So it looks really good, I guess, in that regard. Yes, it's still very dirty, so I'm going to clean up all this like gunk off the bottom before I put fish in, obviously. At the moment, it's really actually beneficial for the plants because the plants are going to be able to use that for nutrients and stuff like that. As they settle in, there's a few crypts and stuff like that which have been planted and will take a long time to come back. I reckon within the next couple of weeks. So we'll do an update on this tank, but basically these will have to settle in. I'm going to get some plants, maybe some smaller crypts as well, just to go on this front bit here. And then that'll kind of be it. I might put some Anubias up here, like some Nana Petite maybe, like I'm not too sure. Definitely not going to do any Java Fern because I don't really like the way that looks with this kind of plant. I do want to keep it very like clean looking plants, like with the big smooth broad leaves like what are in this tank. So that's basically this tank. You can see as well, I've just got some basic sponge filters there and all that kind of stuff. So moving on down to another boring tank. Hopefully this will start to look a bit better in the future, but we're going for something very similar to what this tank was originally. And there used to be this big carpet, and I believe this is all dwarf Sagittaria. And there was a big dwarf Sag carpet along the bottom here. It was actually really, really lush. So I've kept some of the dwarf Sag and I've planted it throughout like the tank. So there's like little bits of it everywhere. And basically the plan here is to have exactly what we had before, but without the big Java Fern jungle in the middle and just some big branches hanging out and maybe some Bosemani rainbows or something like that in here. I'm honestly not too sure. So we've kept all the plecos in here. There's a few guppies which I will catch out, but this carpet has a lot of growing to do. So I'll be fertilizing this. I've kept all that mulch in there just to keep the plants fertilized as well. And yeah, we'll let that fill out. You can see I've tied some rocks to some of the pieces of driftwood in here just to help them to sink, which is a really, really good tip if you guys are doing like a new tank and you don't want to wait to boil your driftwood. I always recommend boiling it just to get rid of like the nasties in it, but if you can't wait to sink it, just attach a rock to it and cut it off in like a month's time. It should be all good. But I might get a few more branches or something like that. I'm not too sure. I'll see how it looks once this carpet starts growing, because this dwarf Sagittarius stuff grows quick. I mean, it grows really, really quick. So hopefully this fills out really, really soon. But basically that's going to be it. So thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I really do appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And I'll see you guys in the next one.